Morning everybody, I'm Jill, behind the camera is Roger, and we are which way now? So here we are at Caernarfon Castle, and we just had to battle our way through lots and lots of people on coaches, Americans mostly, and they're about to get surrounding us now, I think, as well. We've read a little bit about this before we've arrived, but not a lot, and we're hoping to explore it and see what there is to offer. King Edward I of England came to Caernarfon in 1284 with his wife Eleanor, who was heavily pregnant, and she actually gave birth while she was at the castle, and he was called Edward of Caernarfon, and he was presented to the nobility as the first Welsh prince who was born in Wales but could never speak a word of English. That wasn't actually true, but there you go. And for 700 years the title of Prince of Wales has been taken by the firstborn son of the monarch, and in 1911 the Welsh Prime Minister David Lloyd George brought Caernarfon Castle to the fore when Edward VIII had his investiture here, and in 1969 Prince Charles had his investiture here too. Edward I, who was the one who defeated the Welsh princes, wanted to try and strengthen the ties between England and Wales, and he wanted to overturn any ideas of the Welsh uprising against him. And as well as drawing on a Roman story, he also drew on the story of King Arthur, because a very popular book had just been published in medieval times where King Arthur was made into a great king, and so Edward I basically tried to reinvent the story of King Arthur, I suppose. So it was always said that King Arthur would come back from the dead. So what Edward I did was he took Arthur's crown and he had it sent to Westminster Abbey, so that King Arthur's crown was no longer in Wales, and he also had the bodies of Guinevere and Arthur reburied at Glastonbury Abbey, because again it then said that King Arthur couldn't rise from the dead. So that was very interesting. Inside Caernarfon Castle there's also the Museum of the Royal Welsh Fusiliers, and the thing about the Fusiliers is their mascot is a goat, and it was saying about the fact that the goat can start as a fusilier and could be a lance corporal or whatever, gets promoted or demoted according to the behaviour that it shows. And there was a goat called Billy that was a lance corporal who in 2006, I think it was the Queen's birthday trooping of the colour, was demoted back to a fusilier for unbecoming behaviour, and a few other bits and pieces. It was very sad, poor thing, but apparently 3 months later he was promoted back to a lance corporal again. Poor Billy. So we are camping at Glasfryn Escapes, which is outside Fishguard, about 1.5 miles outside Fishguard, I think. And as you can see, it is not exactly busy. We are the only people here, but it's absolutely gorgeous. There's a static mobile home over there, but we're the only people camping. We've got our own bathroom. There's private facilities for washing up, for going to the loo, all that kind of thing, and it's gorgeous. And down there you can see Fishguard and you can see the port. Lovely view of the sea as well. Yeah, it's a really nice campsite. It's got everything we want. It's very quiet, but basically we only want somewhere to plug in a loo and a shower, and that's about it really. We left our campsite about 9:15 this morning. It's now about 11 o'clock. We cycled about just over 17 miles. We tried not to get too much range anxiety, which Roger tells me is a fear of running out of battery on your electric bike or your electric car or whatever. So we've both got 80% left, so that's fine. We did have the batteries actually switched off for quite a lot of the ride because it was just gentle undulations, which was lovely. And we've now arrived at St David's, and this is St David's Cathedral. There's beautiful buildings and there's lots to explore here. There's an old building behind us here, and then there's a new building there, which sounds like there's a service going on in the church over there as well. But it's absolutely lovely. And it's a beautiful day today too. Not raining, hooray! This is the Bishop's Palace of St David's, and it's right next door to the cathedral. We've just been reading about it, and it's quite interesting because in the 12th century, apparently the Pope at the time said 2 visits to St David's were the equivalent of 1 visit to Rome. So it was obviously a very, very important place. And this was built in the 1300s by one Henry de Gower, and he turned what was a place that was only fit for animal habitation into a beautiful palace for a bishop. And it's right next door to the cathedral. The cathedral is absolutely lovely. We can't go in because there's a service going on, sadly. But we were just reading the fact that it takes £2,700 a day to maintain the cathedral. That's just phenomenal amounts of money, and there is no way they'd get that from their takings at services, that's for sure. That's just an incredible amount of money. It costs us about £600 a week to keep my church open, but £2,700 a day, that's phenomenal. So we've done about 23 miles of our bike ride. We've got about 15 to go. We stopped at St David's, and this is Abereldy Beach. We're taking a slight detour off our path to come here, and it's absolutely beautiful. There's a few people surfing, a few people just chilling, and it's lovely. What a gorgeous place. We just got back from our bike ride. It was about 39.5 miles, quite long enough. These bikes are amazing. They still had nearly 40% of power left at the end of nearly 40 miles, which is quite impressive. And it was great. It was quite uppy-downy at times. When we got to St David's, we had 80% left because we wanted to make sure we'd have enough to be able to, when we were tired on the way back, to be able to use it. And we used quite a lot on the way back. We used 40% on the way back as opposed to 20% on the way there. But it was really worth it, and it was a lovely bike ride. On the way back, we stopped about 1.5 miles away down the pub, which was recommended to us by the people here, called the Gate Inn at Skledow, I think is how you say it. Roger had a chilli and I had a homemade omelette, and it was both very tasty. When we went in there, we were chatting to the man behind the bar, and as soon as we said we were Cornish, he was like, oh, that's good, you know, and he sort of changed his attitude a little bit. Lots of very local people in there, but it was all very friendly and very nice. I would definitely recommend it if you're here. When we got the bikes, I was very worried about my bottom because these seats are quite hard, and the man in the shop did say if you can bear with it, he said it's definitely worth it, because I wanted to get a cover for the seats, and the man said no, try and bear with it. He said just go out on them every day. We haven't done that, but actually 40 miles today, and my bum didn't feel too bad afterwards, which is quite amazing. Certainly not nearly as bad as when we were in France. So I think they are toughening up a little bit, and I'm not going to be getting a cover for my seat. When we were in France, we had two things that we told you that we wanted to buy, and this is one of them. It's a universal plug. It's absolutely huge, so you can use it for showers, baths, washing up, whatever. And we did use it in the place but one, which was great. Very, very good. It just suctions onto the sink, which is fantastic. And the other thing is this, which is a bike phone holder. So today we were using Google Maps, and this Lemigo, it's called Lemigo phone holder, and you can actually touch screen it through the plastic as well, and there's very space in there for your purse and cards and various other bits and pieces. It's meant to be waterproof. We haven't fortunately needed to test that. The sun, I would say, is a bit of a problem because there were times when I couldn't really read it because the sun was coming off despite this shady bit, but it was very effective today. Behind me you can see Fishguard, and there you can see the ferry that goes over to Ireland. I think that Stena Line ferry goes to Rosslare or somewhere like that. And we were reading about Fishguard, and it's quite interesting because Fishguard was the site of the last ever invasion on the British mainland of any foreign troops, and that was 1797, and apparently it was Napoleon Bonaparte, obviously, who tried to invade, and his troops tried to land at Fishguard, and they were scared off by the Fishguard fort, which fired its cannons. And then they also saw on the shore lots of people walking along in tall black hats and red shawls, and they assumed that they were part of the British Army or the English Army. But they weren't. Actually, they were just Welsh women, I assume, in Welsh national dress. Welsh women walking along. But they were scared off, and they landed 3 miles down the coast. And I'm not sure it was a very successful invasion, because I don't think they stayed very long. But it was very interesting to note that Fishguard was the last place on the British mainland to repel or to have an attack by foreign troops. We left our campsite this morning just before 7:30, stopped in Tenby for breakfast, went through lots of little villages on the way here as well, and got here just before 12 o'clock, and we're now camped at Port Einan, and we're in a Sky Sea camping park, which is right on the beach here, and it's lovely. This is the beach that it overlooks, which is absolutely glorious, and we're just going to go for a little walk now, up here and then round back inland a little bit. It looks absolutely gorgeous. And it's a lovely day as well, which is always nice.
Once again, if it's me doing a video, it's only one thing: food. And today, you can't come to Wales without Welsh cakes. Now, I've been saying to Jill all along, I need to have these. When we actually went to the supermarket, they actually had different types. They had plain ones, they had chocolate ones, and they had these ones, which were the fruit Welsh cakes.
They're jam ones as well.
Well, they're jam ones as well. Now, I thought I ought to go for the fruit ones because they seem to be the most traditional. I would have gone for the chocolate normally, as I like chocolate, but I've gone for the fruit ones. So, again, not sure whether you just eat them without butter or anything. I'm going to try it and see what happens. Yeah, they're very nice actually. They're quite like a scone, but a very sweet scone. But no, you don't need butter. They're very nice. And with a glass of cider, goes down a treat. Cheers.
So Roger said if it was him in a video, it must be food. And I'm saying if I've got my mug of tea, it must be time for a campsite review. So we arrived here at 12 o'clock and we are in Sky Sea campsite in Port Ainan. It's a lovely campsite right by the beach, absolutely beautiful, and it's huge as well, absolutely massive place, and it is open all year round, which is great. It's £35 a night, including electricity. There's showers and toilets up there and various places around the campsite. There's a little shop on site, and just down in the village, which is about 20 yards over there, there's a takeaway and there's a fish and chip shop and various other bits and pieces as well. It seems lovely. It seems really quiet here. I think in the summer it could be a bit different. And reading reviews, people say this is one of the best times to come because it's lovely and quiet and there's not lots of kids running around. You can, I believe, you used to be able to choose where you pitch, and a lot of the people choose the far field where there's no facilities so that it's slightly quieter during the summer. But that's up to them, isn't it? But no, this is a really nice campsite. It's a lovely way to finish our holiday. Yeah, as I say, we went for a 4-mile walk this afternoon, which was absolutely beautiful. And yes, we're just now chilling out before we go and have a shower.
So, we've just finished our time in Wales. What's our thoughts on it?
I really liked it. I thought it was a great place to be. We toured around. We went to 4 different places to stay.
We did.
And it was lovely, wasn't it? Really
it was.
Nice.
Considering we're in October.
5 different places to stay.
That's 4.
4, okay.
Considering we're in October, it's actually, we were surprisingly lucky with the weather. We didn't get rained on at all.
The wind
while we were
was
out and about.
Terrible at times, but they didn't actually get wet, which was quite good. Yeah, I don't know which my favourite campsite was. You liked the last one, didn't you, I think?
Well, I like the wild camping.
Yes, the wild camping was great. Wild parking.
Wild parking, sorry, yes, the wild parking was especially good. But, yeah, the eco park campsite I liked, although the showers here were very good, I have to say.
Mine wasn't that warm.
You could turn the temperature.
Oh, can you?
Yeah, you can change the temperature.
Button.
Yeah, button with change the temperature.
Okay.
But it was kind of a rain shower, and it was
yeah.
very nice and powerful. It was great, I have to say.
Yeah,
So,
it started off warm and then it got colder.
No, you just need to turn the temperature.
Oh, there you go.
But yeah, no, we've really enjoyed our time in Wales.
We have,
definitely will be revisiting at some point.
Yes, absolutely. And it's quite a good time of year to come because we were meant to have pre-booked when we turned up here that it said pre-booked pitches only, and I just went in and said, I'm very sorry, I didn't see that on your website. And she said, oh, don't worry, that's fine. So I think most places have spaces, which is nice if you come in October, and the weather is still pretty good, fingers crossed.
Yep. Not a lot of campsites are open. Lots of campsites are closed.
Yeah.
Kind of the end of September, first few days of October.
And it's the same in Cornwall, isn't
but
it?
yeah,
I
think it's the same
well.
everywhere. So just got to be careful which ones are open and which ones aren't. But no, thoroughly enjoyed it. The only downside last night, I can't remember what you were doing at the time.
I think I was just about to get ready to go to bed, and I was sitting here and got up, looked up, and there was a huge spider just there. I have no idea where it had come from, how long it had been there. It made me jump out of my skin. So that is no longer an indoor spider, that is now outdoor. It's gone to the eco campsite to live in the wild, hasn't it? But it made me jump out of my skin.
Yeah, good luck to him.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yep, thoroughly enjoyed Wales,
yes,
and
very much so.
Would highly recommend it.
Definitely. On to the next holiday next week.
Next week, indeed, yes. So if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe and leave a comment. Thank you.